Alright guys, welcome back. Three Broken Chairs with you again.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing today?
So this one's basically going to be a lot of updates, it seems like. There's been so much going on.
Man,
this week,
it's been a hectic week, buddy. It's been a hectic week.
Oh,
It's
God.
a lot of stuff actually.
It's been
A lot of
to keep
stuff.
up with, man.
What we got some things we want to talk about,
Well,
Eric. But
first
what
off,
what are you wanting to start with? What
I
do you
think
want to
first
start
we
with?
got to start with the stimulus. We've been
Stimulus.
talking a lot about
Of course.
bringing second stimulus
Course.
to everybody. I think last time we hit on the House getting called back, maybe.
Right. I got a little
Pelosi-
gun shy on that one, if you will, and
Yeah,
a
Pelosi-
little trigger happy maybe.
She
and,
called the House back, was upset about the Postmaster stuff that we hit on a little bit last time.
Right.
I think we got some more on that.
Lynch is hitting on that this time.
Oh my God. I was seeing something like that. But
Yeah.
Pelosi called the House back, and it just seems like there's still no movement around. Like it's just, she's solid on the $2 trillion. Like
Okay.
it's like we get $2 trillion or we get nothing.
Well, it was like what 1.2 trillion was the counter, I guess, the last time.
Right.
Okay,
And
so
it's
we're
just
the 2 trillion from Pelosi is hey, we're solid on that.
Yeah.
What's that like 800 billion, man? I mean, what's that encompassing? Like, what is she trying to add on that they're lacking, or is it just like a large, grand scale, broad stroke cut across the board?
Well, Republicans are actually, again, worried about the deficit and worried about all this money that we've been spending. There's several $trillion that we've put into the economy at this point.
Sure, that's a good place to keep our head at.
And it's just that we went from talking about a $3 trillion aid, which is what Pelosi wanted to begin with, to like, oh, we can moderate it at like a 2.
Sure.
So it's,
Sure.
the devil's advocate in me wants to think that maybe we need to meet more in the middle.
I think you might be right, especially because it's not necessarily the people who are going to be seeing the majority of that money. It's business. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's been all of our frustrations from the beginning of this.
Yeah, and I can't help but to say, I kind of think you might be right on this one as well. I hate to think that we're going to be spending 800 billion. That's kind of where I was going in the first place. I can't imagine where 800 billion dollars is going to help. Frankly, anybody but the American people we should be helping at this point. I mean, that $800 billion instead of companies and corporations, we could be paying for PPE and businesses. Why do I got to wring out my employees to pay for PPE? Not pay for, but good Lord, we got to ring it through a register just to account for PPE. Why can't we be sending out even more PPE to our employees and not having to worry about this kind of...
well, I mean, some companies are, but you're asking for that to come from a federal level?
Sure. Why isn't that something we got in the first place?
Whose responsibility should that fall to? Should it be like
I can't
FEMA thing?
I can't help but to think it could be a FEMA thing. I would imagine that's where you go for those kind of a good question
Did
is
Trump cut FEMA?
who responded. That's one for Google, Eric. That's one for Google. What was the organization that responded to the SARS epidemic or smallpox? You know what I mean? I don't necessarily know off the top of my head. Give me a minute or two.
Wow,
I'll
Trump
Google
has
that
actually
one.
been trying to use FEMA disaster funds for unemployment. He's actually been trying to do that.
Good. I think we had a conversation a while ago that there were some things, that...
I mean, we were upset at him, what, a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago? I think it was like a year ago for him taking money from FEMA to put towards the border.
Yeah.
So if we're mad at him for taking money to put towards the border and saying that's not a good use of the money, I mean,
Yeah, this FEMA who'd respond to
use?
something like this. It is FEMA who'd respond to something like this.
Yeah, so is this not a good use of the money?
Who's
fighting him on that? I mean,
but at the same time, we're not giving that money allocated to FEMA. You know what I mean? That isn't like
this article just came out.
It's not like we're donating that $800 billion lump sum directly towards FEMA
This came out like 2 weeks ago.
Sure. What do you got? What do you got?
Trump wants to use FEMA disaster funds for unemployment.
Is he though? Well, I understand. He wants to, but like, is that actually? That actually?
I don't know. And that's been
a lot of fizzle.
It just seems that the constant counter is that the Republicans want to spend this money on corporations, spend this money on people, and yada yada. But then again, that's that one side saying, "Oh, we're the holy ones." We're the ones that are looking out for you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And at the same time, I mean that's true for both sides of the board.
We have to stay fiscally responsible.
We have to, and
just
I
as
can't
much
help
as any business does from a certain standpoint.
Right.
The country does have to operate both for the good of its people and for the good of the GDP almost equally.
I don't care necessarily what amount of money.
Capitalism.
Right, that's capitalism, man. Laissez-faire economy, you know what I'm saying? That's just true,
Well, true capitalism is GDP. It's all for the good of the GDP. Basically.
Well. Excuse me. Good Lord. But I can't help but to think if we were allocating this money for some kind of responsible use instead of bailing businesses and trying to support banks and large corporations, that if this was put towards some kind of FEMA disaster relief or good Lord anything else in the world, we might be able to not have to worry about this for so much longer.
Right.
You know what I mean? And at the same time, I mean, what was it last week? I think it was 1/3 of the coronavirus-related cases were found to be of 2 to 3 severe illnesses or more. I think it was. I'm gonna have to give that one a Google, but there was a large amount of coronavirus cases found to be in like people with serious illnesses, and that's coming after a couple more that has happened in the past as well, and it's starting to raise maybe a little question of what's actually what's the real number. I hate to lean back to what Corey was saying on previous podcasts, but
right,
good Lord,
yeah, definitely, that's what I was going to say.
Let me give that a quick Google here.
That's what I was going to say. We've definitely talked about that in previous, and we've said, it can be something as simple as a car crash, but this man also had coronavirus. So is that going to be marked as a coronavirus death?
Right.
And certain news outlets have said yes, they are being, and these reports have come from one hospital or worker or another saying this, that, or the other. And it's. I hate to keep coming back to this point, but it's hard to know what to believe in this day and age.
Right. No, I hate to.
And it's almost hard to bastardize them for that, because if you're saying this underfunded hospital needs a little bit more money already, and then you're saying they are having some patients an influx of patients that are worried they're experiencing this virus, they're probably going to need even more funds. And if all you have to do is label somebody as a coronavirus patient, and it doesn't matter how they come in, if they have coronavirus, they can be labeled as a patient. There you go. There's another, $5,000 or whatever in research funding or whatever it is. And I hate to condemn them for that to a certain degree.
And back to what we were saying about some of the coronavirus cases being misclassified. CDC even has a section where they're admitting themselves that a lot of these influenza and pneumonia cases, and even so far as lung cancer cases, are kind of counted as a COVID-19 mortality. And I mean, that's right on cdc.gov. They're saying it themselves that quite a few have been misclassified. I'm not finding an exact number here, but good Lord, when the CDC themselves is saying that they have been wrong for quite a number of these, I feel like we have to examine.
How can you trust the CDC when the organization is totally unreliable at this point?
They are citing and sourcing with quite a few, 10 sources for their numbers here, but I mean, I'm going to give some of these a read here in passing, but hopefully I'm going to find more of an accurate number on that one.
Huh.
Yeah, there's, and I'll look quite a few. There's quite a few. It's
just in this day and age, it's become so frustrating. One day, you hear Anthony Fauci saying wear a mask, and then the next day you catch a picture of him on the internet at a baseball game with his family not wearing a mask.
Right,
right. So which one are we?
Well, I mean, you can also examine the fact that Trump hasn't worn a mask except once to a hospital this entire, publicly at least.
Right.
Good Lord, I don't want to speak for the man, but once publicly since the disasters frankly happened. I mean, look on TV, look on every broadcast, look on every public speaking, hearing, gathering, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the man's only worn a mask to a hospital or an airport, whichever it was.
I wonder how many less briefings, or not briefings, but public outings he's been in since this, though.
Hasn't stopped him golfing.
Really?
Nah. Nah, not the slightest.
I haven't kept up with that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not necessarily one I want to dive into real quick. Those numbers are very, very easily Googleable, but
Right.
good Lord.
Anyway, to get back to what I was saying before, though, about the stimulus and stuff and the money coming in, possibly, it doesn't seem like the stimulus is coming in. Like, it doesn't seem like we're ever going to get to a deal. You know, every day you can check online and search new stimulus or second stimulus, whatever you want to Google.
Right.
And you've got a new source, whether it be of CNN or a Huffington or one of those, Money Insider,
Oh gosh, Money Insider. Yeah,
one of
there you
those,
go.
like, trade
of course,
insider
of
things,
course.
whatever it is. When you Google that, you constantly have new articles every day saying, oh, if we get second stimulus, then this is what you can expect, or
Sure.
when you can expect this to happen, or what's going on with this, and it's just the same stuff every single day, and it seems like we're not going to get anywhere.
Well, I mean,
so Trump took action.
That's a little bit of the journalistic fluff, if you will. I mean, they have to write something. You know what I mean?
No, I understand. It just gets frustrating to see it every day.
I understand that.
Trying to stay
and I
up to
understand
date
that.
with the situation, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
A little nod
who's
to that
constantly
newscaster losing her mind about Paris Hilton back in 2005 or whatever that was. That was a good one. But yeah, no, I'm not too concerned about what necessarily we're going to get. It's more about, one, the money we're going to spend, and two, where we're going to spend it. I don't necessarily even know so much as a template of really what we're going to spend this time, but I'm positive that we're not going to see as much as we think we're actually going to.
Right.
I'm sure this is not going to be anything like we think it's going to be as it was last time. We're not going to see the benefit as it was last time. I truly think we're going to have to pay this one back. This is either going to be taxed or we are paying this one back.
Well, that's exactly what I was leading into. Is Trump took action. I mean, he's saying slash payroll tax from September 1st on.
Oh.
Like September till December, I think, if I remember reading the article right.
Give me that one. Give me that one.
He was saying,
I have a lot of overtime coming in here. Give me that one.
Well.
Give me that one quickly.
No.
Hurt.
No, because here's the problem. The only way that's going to work out in your favor, from my understanding of it, is if you plan on quitting your company before 2021.
Oh, hold on. Okay, give me that one and give me a little detail on that one. Because
Yeah.
that's a lot to take in right there. That's a big statement.
Yeah.
That's a big statement.
So, my understanding in the reading is that we're going to get a payroll tax cut, right?
Okay.
So the 6.2%, I think it was. Let me skim the article I just sent you real quick.
6.2 plus state tax.
Yeah. The employer no longer needs to take that from the employee.
Okay, so.
Right. So now, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. I was trying to quantify in my head and just verbalizing there. I apologize.
No, you're fine. So now, you've got all this extra money coming in, right? If you're not looking into this, the way I'm seeing it, you're going to spend this extra money just like you did the last round. Oh man, Trump got us this extra money. But unbeknownst to you, if you're not paying enough attention, or this doesn't get talked about, I suppose, then you've got to pay that back. They have all the right to charge you that back payroll tax. The only way that's not possible is if you don't work for that company anymore. They can't charge your paychecks the back payroll tax if you're not working there anymore.
So why would the company charge you that money?
Because they're required to.
Okay, so
legally. Federally.
Wouldn't that money be taken out of your paycheck from governmental means as it's issued? You are issued X amount of money and then it is taxed, right? So
I don't know.
Would it be the company necessarily, or would it be?
That was like I said, I sent you the article.
Okay.
This is my understanding here.
Let's look into that one. Let me give that one a read real quick.
But
good Lord, that sounds.
It's only applying to workers with a salary of under $104,000 a year. It never says that you're not responsible for your taxes. It just says it's going to defer the tax payments.
Yeah, I see that. They're withholding. They're not withholding.
It's
Excuse
a
me.
temporary suspension.
So instead of withholding that money to give off to the government, they're actually giving that to you instead, and then being required to pay that afterwards.
Exactly.
And then they're going to charge you that bill.
Yeah,
I
because
see
they're
where
not paying that.
Okay, that makes a lot more
Exactly.
sense. Good Lord, that's terrifying.
Exactly.
Good Lord.
Your company's not going to foot that bill for you.
Good Lord. No, they are not.
So the only way this is going to work out is if you don't plan on working for your company after 2021. You take all that money and you run.
Would there be any kind of way to opt into getting that withheld? I mean, would that fall upon the employer's responsibility at that
That's
point?
what's terrifying to me as an employee.
Because then what are they going to do? Withhold more money?
Well, what am I going to?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm speaking out of turn here, but
like, what am I going to do? Do I need to now pay attention and calculate that money out of my check and just start saving that aside?
That's
Am I now having to worry about that like a self-employed person and worry about paying into my taxes?
I couldn't imagine the idea of...
As a 25-year-old, I've never needed to pay taxes.
Right.
I've paid taxes on, my vehicles, I've paid taxes on, sales, I've paid taxes on all kinds of things in my life, but I've never paid taxes at the end of the year when I filed my taxes.
I've never received a bill from the government.
Yeah, I've never owed state taxes, I've never owed federal taxes.
Right.
And I don't want to, and if you're telling me that somehow...
Don't want to right now.
I'm going to have to figure that out,
I don't necessarily want to have to bear the burden of the government forcing some kind of unnecessary means upon me. I don't want some kind of sneaky money move to it feels like we're moving around funds just to kind of clear some kind of debt at this point.
Exactly.
Like we're swiping the credit card on top of the credit card on top of the credit card.
You hit the nail on the head with what America is the best about. I mean, we literally just keep expanding the budget every year that we hit the end. We're like, oh, we spent all the money we have.
Oh my God.
We have a government shutdown.
We are masters of venture capitalism.
We just have a government shutdown about it, and they're like, okay, fine, fucking push it out more.
Back to that capitalism point, Eric. We aren't aiming for true capitalism. We're aiming for the ideal venture capitalist society. Oligarchy. Good Lord, that's really the ideal, the perfect ideal of venture capitalist oligarchy at the head. That's a scary thought.
Right.
That's a scary thought.
It's all around us, and that's why I started paying attention to certain outlets who are saying we need to make big change in the government. We need to change the way we're doing things now, and if we don't do it soon, then we are going to lose the control that we have to make those changes.
Sure. Yeah.
The problem with those news sources is they're just as biased as the other people.
There's 1,000 quotes to go along with that. Pick one.
They're just as biased as the other people.
Of course.
Just in the same way they say, everyone's corrupt, everyone's bad, there's no good people except for these people that we've had on our show. This is the ideal the two-party system creates, the us versus them mentality. And we've touched upon it 1,000 different times. 1,000. Yeah.
It's the us versus them mentality. And that's, unless we eliminate from a cultural standpoint the ideal, we're never going to progress. Never. There's no hope for that. There's no hope for that. If you're only on one side, if the line's drawn in the sand, then there's never going to be any kind of unity as a society, as a neighborhood, as a culture, whatever you want to call it, man. There's never going to be.
We've definitely talked about that before. I hit on that Dr. Seuss book with the Sneetches.
There you go.
With the Neuralink.
God, that was a good one too. Yeah.
You're going to become the Sneetch without the star, the Sneetch with the star.
Yeah, that was perfect. Talk about nail on the head, man.
Speaking about Neuralink, though, did you see that crap
with the pig?
Dude.
Oh my God, Elon Musk, come on the podcast, man.
Elon Musk, just go on Joe Rogan's podcast
Jesus,
once a month, please.
Yeah, man. give us a little bit more. Go to
man,
anybody's podcast.
This man just unveiled a pig with Neuralink in its brain.
Good Lord.
It's coming,
I
guys.
I want to see what the computer picks up from the pig.
Did
The
you
computer,
see
good lord,
it?
the device
Yeah,
at this point.
no. It was picking up like when the pig was eating
Okay.
and like sniffing around and stuff.
Yeah.
It was picking up from the snout.
Sure.
Like a lot of data signals from the snout.
So I wanna reach the point where we figure out what the pigs call what they're eating.
Right.
I wanna know what the pigs think of
We're
just
gonna
the
know.
pigs, just the pigs though, just the pigs.
I don't want to know about cows.
Yeah.
I don't know about anything else. Just bacon.
Especially not those squirrels. I don't want to know about
Squirrels are shifty, man.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man,
But
no,
yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, this man is out here just doing insane things.
Good
all
lord.
the time.
Elon
It
Musk.
said something like, what was it, like 300 fibers, or I don't even know.
Was it 300?
It was insane.
I'm going to be honest. I thought it was like 30.
Oh no, there were so many like little neurons and things that would attach.
I'm going to pop that one open too, man.
It was insane. This
God.
man is just doing something every day of the week, every moment.
It's not every day of the week. You're right. It's every moment. Gertrude, man. Gertrude, come on the show.
That's the name of the
You
pig
can
that
now.
he put it. That's the name of the pig that he put it in.
There you...
It was, man, 3,000 electrodes, which can monitor the activity of 1,000 brain neurons. There it is. It's insane.
How about that?
It's mind-blowing how he can do that. And he was on, did you see that thing where he was on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about it? And he was like, tiny wires? It's like, yes, Joe, like a lot of little tiny wires.
Like a
that
lot
are
of
gonna
little...
connect
Yeah.
all over your brain.
I love that in that moment you could tell that Elon Musk was just way too smart for one, his own good, and two, to be able to dumb it down enough to explain it to you or I.
Yeah.
And that was
100%.
Oh, that was beautiful. And this quote just perfectly describes that and Elon Musk's entire personality and mentality concerning the Neuralink on an implement in human brain. Good lord, Jesus Christ. At that point, he says it actually fits quite nicely in your skull. It could be under your hair and you wouldn't know.
He just wants to get to the point where it's not, you don't know it's there, we don't need to talk, we don't need to have an ego, we're just existing with each other.
We are communicating efficiently. What was it?
Efficiency.
The
Pure
ideal,
efficiency.
yeah, the ideal of decompression and
Yeah.
compression of
Elon Musk a
information. Well, I'm sorry.
Is Elon Musk a robot?
I thought you were going to say I didn't say that. There's potential.
Isn't that what we've always been worried about for robots? Is that they're just going to push us to perfection?
Is that South Park?
No, that's a space.
No. I mean Elon Musk being a robot. I'm sure that's South Park. I'm sure.
I'm sure South Park's done it, or Simpsons. Simpsons did it. Come on.
Maybe Simpsons.
I mean, Simpsons did everything.
Simpsons or South Park. Simpson calls everything.
Yeah.
Simpsons calls everything. Who is it?
Well, that was a joke in South Park. Simpsons did it. You can't do
Oh,
anything
you're
because Simpsons
right.
already did it.
No, you're right. That was an old one, man. That was a really old one.
But anyway, back to serious stuff. You were telling me about this Postmaster General stuff before the podcast, and that's the whole reason, like, that we started the last podcast with it, and there wasn't enough going on with it last time to, like, really get an update on it.
Right.
But Pelosi called the House back for it, and my understanding is, dude, just has never had any experience in this.
He never once had. And I'm literally going to Google this guy's name because I get it wrong every time. It's Dejoy. And I don't know. It's wrong every time. I'm just going to Google it here. You know what I mean? But he got called in. He's getting grilled by quite literally everybody he can be right now. I think it's
in the House or the Senate.
It's the government. I want to say the judicial branch has its own segment of internal investigations, and that's essentially who he's being investigated by. It's the body who investigates any government official who has.
And the Senate have committees that investigate, like, inside the House and the Senate. And
right,
like
but this is for government workers specifically, I believe. It's not necessarily. Let me put a little bit more time into that one, but basically this guy's been called in and he's getting grilled by anybody and everybody who can get a hand on him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Lynch, Representative Lynch, got a hold of him here not too long ago, and good Lord, he put some heat into this man, and I hate to paraphrase his wonderful and
Who is
beautiful.
Lynch?
usage of the English language.
Is he a senator?
I believe he's just a representative. Let me give that a Google here.
So this is in the House?
Yes, but I do believe he's part of something else.
Yeah, probably like a House committee, like a House investigative committee.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, Representative Lynch. There we go.
Where's he from?
Where's he from? Oh, good Lord! You're giving me a good one here. Yeah,
I thought you Googled him. I'm sorry.
I did, but you know what? I got off of that one so fast I didn't even look. Was that Massachusetts? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Massachusetts.
Okay.
So, what the heck are you doing? Was a quote directly from the questioning.
I saw that blazoned on something on Facebook.
Yeah, that was a direct quote. That was one of his enders, of course, but a lot of the questions were on the basis of the U.S. Postal Service's 240-year, 250, 240, whichever
something
it is,
like that, yeah.
Year service to the U.S. And in that 240 years, we can proudly say that we have never once had a single day of delay of mail ever. Since its instatement, we have never once had a delay of mail.
Spanish influenza.
Never once had a delay of mail.
9/11?
Never once had a delay of mail. And in 70 days, Dejoy has ruined that 240-year history of service.
Like the SARS outbreak, there was...
Never once...
Didn't we have bombs being mailed around after 9/11?
Shoot, and wouldn't you know, anthrax even killed 2 postal workers who Lynch actually mentioned, and forgive me, I don't know their names off the top of my head, but good Lord. This is unprecedented, unconstitutional, quite literally.
Postal workers killed by anthrax.
Quite literally unconstitutional. There are 600,000 postal workers in the United States right now who are being limited to 40 hours a week, being denied overtime, having their health services diminished, and their 401ks in question. And the mail machines used to sort that mail that they're not allowed to work overtime for are being removed currently. What was it? 671 machines across 50 states in the U.S. have been removed. And wouldn't you know,
wow,
that's causing a backup.
Well, of course. That's insane. I'm sorry. I was still Googling this. The letter-borne anthrax terrorism killed 5 people.
Hey, you know why we got those automated mail sorting machines, Eric? You know one of the reasons? Any idea? Probably that. Probably that.
I mean, I was at the post office the other day, and that lady was working very, very hard between people to sort.
So you're telling me right now, in the midst of, we've spoke previously, of course, but I'm still going to go with it on this one. You're telling me in the midst of the pandemic COVID-19, you're going to remove the automated mailing machines that we don't have to touch the mail. We just send that crap through a chute and let it run. You're going to take that out and let all those workers, all those proud, hardworking Americans, sort that mail by hand?
Well, no, I was hearing
by hand.
They're not even wasn't it the American Postal Workers Union or something like that? They're not even letting them come in and do that.
Oh, I'm sure they aren't. We're probably running on a faux strike and running scab wages and scab labor.
That's literally why we had a mail delay. I'm sure these people would have busted their butt to get that done.
But they're being denied the overtime. They're being denied the overtime to do so.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Can you imagine? And their health benefits are being diminished. Why are you going to? I'm sorry, I'm going to get on a soapbox with that one. I got really...
No, it makes sense. Can you imagine working for a company with the illustrious history of 240, 250 years of never screwing up?
Never once.
You imagine how hard you would want to keep that? It's just ultimately frustrating to everybody that works there. I can't imagine any other outcome. But then when you're telling them that you won't pay them for this time...
Come on, UPS is up to par right now.
What are they supposed to do?
I love my local UPS workers. Thank you guys for what you do, but internationally and nationally, whew.
But it's just so. What was his response? What was the Postmaster General's response to all of this?
A whole lot.
You need to Google it?
No, that was about it, buddy. That was about it. What at one point he was asked by another representative, "Can you give us graphings of the history of service?" And oh gosh, good lord, it was something in relation to disease spread and COVID-19.
Sure.
Well, I'll see if we have the ability to get it to you. Well, no, I want it to me by Friday. Well, I'll see if I have the ability to get it to you by Friday. Well, no, I want that because you're telling me you have that ability to track those numbers in real time.
Right.
Super. Let's see him.
But that has seemed to be every, it's not a deposition, every, inquisition for lack of
Questioning,
a better term.
hearing,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it.
That's been everyone in this administration.
In the past,
In
the past administration, current administration. Good lord, excuse me.
Yeah.
But in current administration, I completely agree. It's been every single one. And good lord, wouldn't you know, Trump has been saying, and you said it before the podcast too, and I'm gonna let you finish it out. Trump has been saying he's appointing the best of the best, and good lord.
How is it that at the end of the day he's saying he's appointing the best of the best, but the Postmaster General has never had experience?
In 70 days. He ruined 240 years of service.
He had no studying on this.
2.5 centuries.
He wasn't a mail carrier. He
Not
wasn't
once.
anything. He had no idea anything about the system.
Nope. Just like Betsy DeVos, our educational head. DeVos. Excuse me. I've only seen that word written.
Family Guy, dude.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Betsy DeVos.
She's another one
I was extremely concerned, but I don't know enough about the education system to know if she's done all right or not.
Good lord, I feel like I know more about that than she does.
She hasn't been in the news like everyone else has, though. So I tell you what.
Last year and in 2018 as well, she was grilled heavy for her financial misuse of educational funds, and in her home state, she was, I believe, fined for doing the same thing in her seat.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Betsy DeVos is not necessarily the best at her position. There was a lot of questionings and hearings and inquisitions previously and last year especially. You'll find her a lot in a blue suit, man.
Yeah.
It's a bright blue suit.
That's exactly it, too.
Yep. You're going to find her a lot in that. She sat down for hours.
Actually, this time last year it seems to be.
Yeah.
There's NPR articles and everything about it.
There you go. But
it actually ended up with the education department having to pay a $100,000 fine.
Yep.
It says the judge said DeVos had violated an order to stop collecting loans owed by students who had been defrauded by Corinthian colleges.
And wouldn't you know, she's attached.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Why wouldn't she be?
Well, that's just like I got a notification about a class action lawsuit for DeVry University.
Really? Man.
Yeah. Remember I told you about that. I got it in the mail and they were saying,
a little background to that. You, I believe.
Well, the whole point with DeVry University was, we'll get you right in after college.
Sure.
And then as soon as you finish this program, you basically have a job.
Sure.
You have a job, almost guaranteed. Yeah. You've got it.
We have X amount of employment rate.
Oh yeah, exactly. We've got all these people that rely on us for jobs and new hires, and yada yada yada, and blah 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 blah. And then these people got through the course and they realized that that's not at all how it was.
Really?
And DeVry University ended up getting defrauded and shut down.
Boy.
I think that's why my loans disappeared.
What does that sound similar?
I kept an eye on my credit report, and after a long time, I thought it was just because it had been long enough.
Can we get an audible fist bump for this one? There we go.
Okay. I thought it was just because it had been a long time.
Sure.
They went inactive.
Long time.
Well,
I got a report on my credit history from 7 years ago when I accidentally opened a K Jewelers credit card for a buddy of mine, Kyle, who worked there.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it went. They all went inactive because they went to a collections agency and yada yada, and I was confused. But then it just kind of fizzled out. It just left my credit report, and I was confused about it. But after I got this class action lawsuit, it kind of makes sense. But that seems like the same kind of thing they're trying to do here.
Why don't medical bills show up on your credit report? At least on Credit Karma. I don't see that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, they will once they go to collections. If you're not paying them and they go to a collections agency, then
Not to make it sound like I'm trying to not pay a medical bill here. Good lord, I just haven't ever noticed.
that's if it goes to collections, it will show up.
Okay.
Yeah, those things will start showing
Sure.
up. In
I suppose I don't swipe a credit card going to the hospital. You know what I mean?
Well, no, it's not even that.
Excuse me, tap PayPal credit. I'm sorry, sponsored again. PayPal credit if you're listening.
Not about that.
Thank you.
It's not about that though. You run your insurance, you get through, and then you end up with a bill.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And if you don't pay that bill, then it's going to go to collections. Okay. Whether that's a dentist bill and your insurance picks up X amount and you're left with a $152 bill, or it's like a hospital trip where like my insurance will pick up some, but I've got like an immediate $100 that I owe if I go to the emergency room.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And if I don't pay that $100, then they're eventually, if it was more than $100, you know what I mean? If we're talking 4 or 5, more, you know what I mean? $1,000, $1,200, something like that,
Sure.
X-rays, medical bill on top of that, you know what I mean?
The
that kind of
MRI and CT scan for the concussion.
Exactly.
Personal experience.
When I went in for the broken elbow for the skateboard accident, and they had that new girl take a whole bunch of X-rays because she was training, and I feel like I got a bill for every single one of those.
Did you really?
I feel like I did.
My goodness.
That was a really expensive trip for just a few X-rays that ended up being used. I don't really know how that works, but yeah.
Oh no! I bet you got charged for every one of those blanks, man. Oh my goodness.
But I never paid that.
Sure.
I never paid that. So now when I go on my Credit Karma, that's there. I mean, I don't know who it was. Trans World Systems, maybe.
Shout out to Credit Karma, by the way. You guys do good work.
Choice Recovery or something like that. I've had a couple credit recovery systems, and one that a lot of people are familiar with. Oh God, my mom used to have them. I started to say
freecreditreport.com.
No, I started to say Sara Lee, but that's a bread. No, there's one around here though. A lot of people have had experiences with. A lot of people probably in the country have had experiences with. It's a female's name. I just can't think of it right now. It's a collections agency, but Sally Mae.
Sally Mae. I haven't heard of that.
Sally Mae Collections Agency.
Okay.
They deal with a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And those kind of collections do show up on your credit report.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's something my mother did while she was working with Erie Insurance. Something similar, segregations, if you will. But
so. That's if you don't pay your stuff, then it will show up eventually. That's kind of what that is.
That's interesting. Little. Okay.
Sorry, drop my phone there.
Yeah. Little education on some credit and insurance dealings there, guys. That was
got off track a minute.
Yeah,
there.
good lord. What was that? 3.5? That was nice. I like that. Hey,
dude.
Don't worry about it, dude.
I don't know what no, it's not that. I don't know what we're gonna do about this fucking Postmaster stuff.
I
don't know what we're gonna do when the man. I feel like I'm being green-lighted all the time.
And what's worse, we can't.
Or gaslighted, not green-lighted. I feel like I'm being gaslighted all the time. Like this man has been telling me since day one that he is hiring the best people into these positions.
Oh my God!
And at the end of the day, I have never been more involved in politics because I'm terrified that everyone in a position of power has no idea what they're doing that could possibly benefit me.
And what's worse is that we're in a position now that we are losing control. We are losing the ability to have say-so. With this, with the Postmaster situation, there's quite literally nothing we can do.
That's why we have to pick a good person to be president.
Right. That's our only outlet.
Okay, again, devil's advocate here.
Okay, let's hear it.
Trump was a businessman. How is he not, from the idea of you being a GM, me being an assistant manager, it's
sure.
You know how you want to lay out your team.
Yeah.
You know how you want to lay out your people. So if you're a confident person that's saying you're well in charge and you know how to run these businesses, why wouldn't you know how to lay out your team?
Yeah, man. You got to know how to stack the house. I mean, and that sounds like such a simple and unloaded phrase,
especially when you have a whole country at your disposal.
Jesus Christ! I mean, let's be honest here.
Who would
when
not
you have
want
a
to be
whole
involved
country,
with
you're
the
exactly
president?
right.
Who would not want to be involved with the president of the
exactly
United States? It's not like a job where you have to convince people to work
and
there.
Jesus Christ, talk about the best publicity available.
Exactly.
I mean, shit. You spend 4 years. You spend 4 years, you get out and have the best thing ever. You know,
exactly. That's a whole nother.
That's that
loop,
guy.
though. That's a whole nother loop, though.
What do you mean?
Okay,
you can't advertise well and
no, it's not even just that. No. It's not even just that. But that's what some of these people, the Young Turks is one of the main channels that I used to watch that talked about that, where you've got this loop where people get involved in the government.
Sure.
They become a representative. They become a senator.
Senator. Hold on.
They become a representative. They become a senator, and they become a lobbyist. They become, whatever. And then there's this revolving door where they can kind of rotate in and out with each other.
I feel like lobbyist is one of those like secret option C, best ideal political standpoints.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying, though. That's exactly what I'm saying. You become a senator, you become a representative, and then once
build
you're
the
done,
street cred.
Once you're done with your
there
term,
you go. Okay, I see where you're going.
Once you're done with your turn in the House, once
Yep.
you're done with your turn in the Senate, then
dip out and go. You remember me, right?
We know all your ideals.
Mm-hmm.
You remember all my ideals. I fought for this and I fought for that, and I always helped you guys.
You
on
know where I
that.
stand, right? You hey, listen, I can move a little weight, right? So
boom.
You
know, then you've got that cushy job. Just
it's better than a foot in the door
that you used to work with.
Exactly, it's an open door on the way out.
You're literally just going in. Can you imagine going in, stopping working where you work now, and going in like once a week and just going, hey guys, you want to carry this shoe? Hey guys,
oh God,
you want to carry this? You want to carry this shoe? I can't imagine going into my workplace every day and going, hey, you want to carry this new flavor of soda, this new flavor of energy drink?
Why don't we carry Livewire anymore?
For this. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where those have been your people, those have been your friends. You already have an in with them. Boy, that's an easy job.
Influence.
And if
we're talking about influence,
and if we're not even talking about your skill level, if we're not even, because some of these people were not.
Right.
If we're not even talking about your skill level and your ability to influence people with your opinion, if we're only talking about technically and under the covers, behind the scenes, paying you for what you did before, while you were a senator, while you were a representative, all those times you stood up for them, all those times you things that benefited them, now they're paying you $10,000 a month for that.
Just to smile and wave.
Just to smile and wave and pretend you're a lobbyist.
Right.
But behind the scenes, it's for all that stuff you did before.
Right.
That's what people like the Young Turks are saying is going on. And how do we stop that?
It's the bonus fund at the end of retirement.
How do we stop that if we're not trying to get this man out of office?
I don't know.
And build a better team.
Well, let's be honest here. What
are our options?
Hold on. Let's clear some air and even some playing field here. To be fair, bribery in terms of lobbying has been legal, quite literally, in the United States for decades at this point. It isn't necessarily just Trump starting this big revolution of greasing palms.
Right.
You know what I mean? It didn't start with Trump. But
I think Corey hinted on that before, where he was okay with why can't we give them free airplane rides?
Right. Why can't we set them in that hotel? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where does it end?
Exactly? It should.
Why can't I give them a free $12,000 puppy?
It should end at monetary assets and items above taxable value, or giftable tax value. It should end there. Sure. That's where it should end.
Sure.
But it doesn't. It doesn't. No money, no cash, or no value exceeding whatever the tax is, whatever the tax, $10K, whatever.
But it's just, there's always a way to launder that money. There's always a way to do something. So
that's why people get into politics.
Yeah.
That's the best way. Screw setting up a mobile station at all. You know what I mean? Screw setting up a fix quick mobile repair or whatever it is. You know what I mean? You can, if you want to launder 500 a day.
So what do we do?
What do you mean?
How do we
fix this? Jinx, I think?
Yeah.
Okay. How do we fix it? I think drain the swamp. Sorry.
We tried that.
Yeah, no. Well, no, we didn't.
Man.
No, we didn't. We flooded the swamp. Let's be honest here. We tried draining the swamp by clearing it with fresh water, excuse me, and it got murky.
Sure, that makes sense.
And we let it dry. And what was left was a big old pile of shit, and that was about it.
So do we go with the ideal that we need to change everything, or
I think,
what do we do?
If I'm being honest, I don't know, but I feel like maybe the anarchist idea. Excuse me, I'm kidding.
What's our option at this point?
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm going with that.
I'm not saying
that's
anarchist,
where I'm
but what's our option at this point?
That's where I'm going with that.
Joe Biden isn't an option.
Joe Biden isn't. Joe Biden scares the crap out of me. I'm not even going to lie.
It's not an option. It's not even it is not an option to elect Joe Biden. No. I don't care that Kamala Harris is with him. Joe Biden is not an option.
I like Kamala Harris, I really do.
Tulsi Gabbard was a better option.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but
Tulsi Gabbard was a better option. She has served in the military.
You can't get anybody to vote third party, independent, whatever you want to call it. You can't get anybody to vote third party, period, in America. And that's where we were talking about the us versus them mentality earlier and the divide of two parties and what it creates. That's exactly that.
But why is Joe Biden saying, I have to pick a woman, I have to do this? Like, why is he being that much of an idiot?
Why do you think? Because he has to pander at this point.
Because the DNC is making him.
Well, not only that, the hand is stacked, the deck of cards is stacked so hard against him with how many things he's done, how creepy he is, and how strong of a following Trump has at this point. There isn't enough people who give a damn about Joe Biden to back him enough to vote him into presidency right now, so he has to pander to anybody who can. What did he say about... Exactly. He has to.
Dude, how can you call him creepy? How are you saying that? How in the world are you saying that with all the stuff that we've figured out that Trump has done?
Trump's creepy too. Trump's creepy. Trump is creepy.
It doesn't matter though.
But I will say, what I will say in that regard is I always think that the person who's a little more okay sniffing children in public is probably doing something behind closed doors a little bit creepier than the guy who's doing the same thing with the guy who's doing creepy things behind closed doors.
Sure. Sure.
And that's my only, and that's might be my just personal opinion and my judgment.
No, I respect that.
But you know what I mean?
That. I'm not trying to say like Joe Biden's not creepy.
Trump's creepy too. I 100% agree. Trump's creepy too.
He
talks about his daughter.
It's never mattered.
He said when his daughter was 13 years old, why am I more attracted to my daughter than I am my own wife? Is that okay?
His fans laugh at that. They think it's funny.
They think it's a joke. They think
why
it's
is
not
that
serious.
Okay?
But why has it been 2 decades of the same mentality and phrasing?
That's what I'm saying. Why is that okay? But now as soon as the spotlight is shown on Joe Biden, they're like, oh man, this man, oh no.
No,
ostracize him. Do not let him ever come close to presidency. But we said the same thing with Trump, but all of his fans were like, it doesn't matter. It never matters.
Who pointed the finger at Biden in the first place? Who points the finger in this circumstance, in this conversation right now to anybody else?
Who has pointed the finger for the last 8 years?
Ooh.
Donald Trump.
Okay, yeah. Well, Jesus Christ, yeah, with the Obama crap.
Donald Trump. It's the same thing. It was the same question you were asking.
Or whatever you mean. Yeah, exactly.
Same question you were asking. The birther thing.
The birther, yeah.
Same question you were asking. Who's the person that points the finger? Donald
He's
Trump.
The master of diverting. The art of the deal, it kind of hides that. He's the best person in the world at diverting money around and spreading the wealth, if you will, by venture capitalism. And what does he have under his control right now? The best country in the world.
The federal government.
The federal government
but
of
we
the
have
best
control
country
of the
in the
state
world.
Government.
Sure. But at
we
this
have
point,
control of the state government, and at this point,
how you could look at
Jim Justice is not doing us any favors, and I think that's how we move along from here.
Yeah. Okay. The best course of action might be to look at that is the best course of action. It isn't might be. I mean, that's just tried and true. You can look at it every single time, any time during history. You start from the ground up and build something special.
Exactly, and if we get a person in there that truly represents the
like that.
Yeah, the ideals. Maybe we're living in the wrong state. Maybe the ideals of the state is represented here.
Sure.
But if we start getting, I don't think the general ideas of the populace of America is represented.
Okay.
And I think that if we as a country start coming together and re-electing our local and state governments, that they will then push forward and help us re-elect our representatives, and just help build a better team. I mean, we have the power to elect our representatives and things.
What you were saying about maybe this isn't the state that has my ideals and values, and maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. Maybe moving to somewhere else that could share your ideals, and maybe just surrounding yourself with the people who give a shit about what you think is the wrong way to do it. Me personally, plant the seed of change, spark some kind of curiosity, let somebody close to you follow through with what your mentality is. If you want to be that seed of change, go plant it. Go spread it around.
There's something to be said, though, for being surrounded with an old world school of thought.
Okay,
There's whole countries like that.
Well, yeah, no, you're right.
There's whole countries
if you want to put it like that, then I agree with you.
What is it? Japan is drowning in old people right now.
Is really?
Japan is basically drowning in old people right now, and
that's why you want to go there so much. You got that. You know,
no, it's just,
I'm just kidding. But
Japan right now, and they're having a hard time trying to take care of them, and that's why young kids don't want to have babies, because it's just more people to take care of. You know what I mean? And if you have a bunch of old people lingering around, they're the ones in charge making the rules. You're gonna have a whole lot of old world ideas that linger around. You're going to have a whole lot of things that don't make sense in the new world, as if, Bible or something like that. Back in the day, I'm sure the Bible made a lot more sense, but now, we have questions and things that don't necessarily get answered directly by the text of the Bible. And just in the same way, if you have an older generation making rules constantly, it will be on decades ago, and those things might not make sense in the new age.
2020 years ago, actually, Eric. So yeah, I can't help but to think, maybe ideas from thousands of years ago might not be, maybe we could relook at what we're doing. I'm not saying shun and get rid of, but maybe redefine.
We can do that, but we can't do that with all of the same people in charge.
Well, that goes back to the planting the seed of change.
We can't do that with all of the same people in charge.
Exactly. That goes back to planting the seed of change.
Planting the seed of change is fine, but you have to get those people out that are in charge.
Well, if you can look at the maybe not necessarily the moral standpoint, but the realistic standpoint, if you plant the seed of change, it's going to happen by the time those people are more definitely out of there, if you will.
I don't like that thought, because how long have the Young Turks been around, for example? They've been planting that seed. They've been having the same message just as Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has had the same message for how long? He's been planting that seed.
You can't change the world in a generation. You only have to inspire people younger to carry on the ideas. You have to inspire somebody to carry on the thought, because nothing happens. No cultural shift, no change of any means happens in just a generation.
But what do we do now? The election's coming. What do we do right now?
We can't do anything. And I hate to say it so blatantly and so bluntly, but quite literally, we have the burden of we get to sit and wait.
We get to
hurry up and wait. Excuse me. We get to hurry up and wait. We get to hurry up and wait.
We get to choose between a douche and a turd sandwich.
And back to South Park, man. We get to choose between a douche and a turd sandwich. You're exactly right. And man, a giant douche. Excuse us.
Giant douche.
A giant douche.
And a turd sandwich.
And a turd sandwich.
Every time.
Every time. To be fair, we've had some good ones in the past. Ben Carson. Kidding.
Every time we get down to the two, though. It's a total misrepresentation of what we need as a country, I feel like. And I don't understand why we're still letting these national conventions control who we put in charge.
If I'm being honest, I almost feel like it's a scary interpretation to say that.
Why can't we run the spectrum?
What do you mean?
Why do we have to have a nomination and then pick one person and then they run against one person? And then why can't we run the spectrum?
What do you mean by run the spectrum?
Why can't we narrow it to like two people on either side, or Like, I understand that there's like 16 people originally that before the nomination, and that just can't happen. But
Well, like then,
why can't we narrow it a little less or something?
have you ever played Tekken Tag Tournament 2?
No, obviously no.
It was the most extensive move list of any Tekken ever, and you played with 2 characters in the same game, right? And in this game, you not only had to learn character knowledge of the opposing character, but of the combination moves that your character could do with whatever other character you chose. So it ended up being this horrible, horrible episode of just scope creep to an unbelievable scale, right? You're trying to learn and trying to learn and trying to learn, but at the same time, at some point, the battle between the 2 people is going to reach some kind of head, and we're not going to see some kind of graceful outcome of that.
Why does it matter? I don't understand. That's the same thing as you're saying you've got a Republican and a Democrat, and you've got these 2 people going against, and we're fighting these 2 ideals. It's the same thing. Are you talking about dividing the vote? What does it matter? One person is going to come out the winner regardless.
I don't think it's about dividing the vote. I think it's.
I'm just talking about having more people at the table to argue their ideas.
Sure.
Why are we just left with
maybe the old too many spoons in the bowl? You know.
How many is too many? Because I don't think 2 is enough.
I feel like
I don't think 2 choices is enough.
A third party. I mean, just at a start. You know. I mean, why not just dip the toe in the water instead of jumping in?
But that's just it. Yeah, it's not like it's not like other countries where we have a strict 2-party system. Like, we do have other parties, but it's just laughable. Yeah. Why is it laughable every year?
Well, it's not necessarily laughable in the essence of there's a lot of people in the world who don't necessarily look at Trump and his supporters and go, yeah, in the current Democratic Party, and go, yeah, there's a lot of people who don't necessarily
identify with either side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe those kind of people should talk a little bit more.
Maybe that's the new generation. Sure, I see what you're getting at. But to round it off,
to round it off. There you go.
That's the that's the next generation of people that are coming in to make the change.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe we should start looking at a third party as an option.
Well, it's not even necessarily like a third party. It's just
just an outsider category.
Yeah, it's like
I hate to say outsider category.
I don't want to say it like that. It's we've got a new ideal coming around where it's like we don't necessarily need to be a Republican or a Democrat.
Maybe
we need to have the best ideals that represent what.
Are we just progressives at this point? Is this what that is?
I guess.
You know.
But then you've got all that grouping.
Progressives are technically Republicans. I don't know how that works.
I don't think so.
Really?
Well, because there's a bunch of people.
I thought they were like libertarians, and libertarians fall on the Republican side.
Libertarians do fall on the Republican side, and progressives fall on the Democratic side.
Is that how that goes?
Yeah, because they're more liberal.
Excuse me. Well, I don't know necessarily.
Libertarians are liberal, but they're liberal in different ways. Like they're still very fiscally responsible and don't want to be.
And I feel like this is kind of the point that we're getting to. Like, why slap a label on the third party? You know what I mean? Like,
why slap a label on any of it? Why just in the same? God.
Well,
Jim Justice switched parties when he got in office.
Yeah, God. You're going to have to slap a label on something because right now we can't handle that. No, we're not going to be able to. There's no way we can go. Hold on. Nothing. You know what I mean? There's no way that right now we can go. All right, re-register to vote, guys. This coming up. Just pick whoever.
Why not? Just as the same way as when you're dating someone, you say, "These are my ideals. This is who I am," and then you work from that.
Make everybody happy at the same time.
Sure.
But you can make enough people to get yourself into office.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just, it comes down to staying active, I guess. You have to be active in your local government. You have to stay active in your state government. And that's the only way to make changes is from the ground up.
Yeah. No, I feel like Man, we really got on that one, man.
That's why
That
this
was-
one's about updates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This was a good update, and I feel like this might be a good little place to leave it off, guys. You know, start some change from the ground up. You know, care about your local governments, your local facilities, your communities. You know, and maybe something. Oh God, that's a scary thought. But hey, you know, vote come November, guys. If you're
I
not
like what
registered,
you said
get
though,
registered.
man. You have to plant the seed of change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not out there, like like we did on Saturday. If you're not out there,
There you go.
serving meals to the community, if you're not, like
Yeah.
Molly's Pet Pantry out there trying
You
to
know.
provide the need where you felt the hole.
Shout
then
out
what
to
do
the
you-
gathering. That was wonderful, by the way.
How is it that you can have any right to complain? Just as much as anybody says, if you don't vote in the presidential election, how do you have a right to complain? If you're not
Yeah.
out there trying to plant that seed of change, if you're not out there trying to affect that change in the world, who are you to complain?
God, like I agree entirely. I
Yeah.
agree entirely. If you don't care, don't care.
Yeah, you have to be out there doing something, guys. So
God, we
please,
need to stop talking, guys. It's been way too long.
reach out there, get something done, and you'll feel a lot better about it because you're out there.
Exactly. I mean, that's a great way to put it. Honestly, you'll feel good about it.
Yeah.
You'll feel good about it. We love talking to you guys. Thanks for giving us this opportunity to lend us your ear.
Catch you next time.
Take it easy.